Oh, you know, Joseph, at the rate we're going, we should make it to Raven's Bend by tomorrow evening. Oh, pass me some bread, will ya?
Oh, yes. There you go.
Oh, thank you. Oh, it smells so good. Oh, bless her heart, that Sandra. Awful sweet of her to send us off with this.
Oh, that's for sure. You know, you made off with a lot of gifts. Who gave you that necklace?
Oh, this? Oh, it was that lovely gal, Ardra.
No. Orange, you devil.
Oh, I told you, didn't I? It's my curse. And don't act like I didn't see you casting glances at the innkeeper.
Oh, shut up. But besides, she was the one winking at me.
Oh, whatever you say. Oh, well, anyway, how's Aunt Kide doing?
You're only asking me that now, huh?
Does she still go off on her tirades about Cragadan? Oh, what was it she used to say? If the dwarves cared as much about their office as their own arses, we'd all be wiping with gold.
Yes. Aye. She's a cantankerous old thing, but she's good. She wishes you'd bother to drive by more often. You'll visit everyone in Lomothas, nigh your own kin.
Well, why go where I've been when there's so many places I haven't? And that's why I've got you, isn't it? That counts for something, right?
I suppose. But promise me something. When we get to Ravensbend, you'll let me tell the story.
Oh, fine. I owe you that much, don't I? But let me rehearse it for you so it's fresh in your mind.
All right, I'm listening.
Nyari came to an agreement with the hermit Veld. In exchange for materials and a few odd chores around her property, she would perform a ritual that would conjure visions for Nyari. With the efforts concluded, the companions gathered inside Veld's cabin.
Nyari, you're there. She's holding your hands, and she tells you to, open your eyes. And as you do, she blows this incense directly into your eyes. Slowly, this ever-shifting fog begins to rise up around you and coalesce into various shapes. At first, it is hard to make anything out, but eventually the fog solidifies enough for you to recognize Fort Ramgate in the distance. You see a dozen blood-crazed hobgoblins charging towards you, their wispy bodies kind of roiling as they charge. And behind them, riding a warhorse clad in the garb of a Malthuni commander, is what appears to be a young human man. At first, you cannot see his face because of his helmet. The very next moment, his helmet vanishes like smoke being blown away in the wind. And despite this great distance between you, you can clearly see the face of Elwood, his expression contorted in a mixture of rage, horror, and shock. A mass of fog surges around and through you, immediately restructuring itself before you into the familiar form of your brother, Severin. Axes in hand, he charges towards the hobgoblins. From behind, you hear Ilika's voice screaming in strained desperation and agony. As you turn around, the shapes in the fog scatter and dissipate, leaving no trace behind. The fog forms the shape of a door and then slowly swings just a crack open in front of you. And looking beyond, you see the wispy form of Ilika lying on a bed with her hands raised above her, holding a small knife towards her own throat. For just a second, you think you see in the fog a second shape, this one hovering just above Ilika, parallel to her, and somehow suspended in the air. You hear a wispy voice say,
"Well, if you've no more will to live, you certainly won't protest if I take your place, will you?"
The fifth scene begins, and once again the fog coalesces, but this time the fog churns and roils into a massive spherical mound. Atop this mound are dozens of small stones arrayed in circular rounds surrounding one massive stone at the mound's apex. Dark energies from this fog swirl around several of the stones on this mound, and before you can see where these swirls are going, everything dissipates once more.
As the vision fades and she finds herself back in the cabin, she's breathing really hard, and there are tears streaming down her face that she didn't even realize. She didn't realize that she was crying. And she's going to stand up very abruptly and just kind of look around. And then she is going to push her way out of the cabin. And she's out here and she just starts screaming. And she's like, I trusted him. I trusted him. I trusted him. She screams it over and over. And she just starts, like, I don't know, in the nearest tree or wherever, she just takes her axe and she's just like over and over and over. She's just like ripping into this tree, like screaming, I trusted him, over and over and over.
Shaken from the experience, our heroes depart Veld's cabin and head back towards camp. Along the way, they encountered the dire Borgeshmaw, fighting a giant magical feline beast. The boar escaped, and the cat turned its attention toward the stalwart company. Its whiskers twitched, its claws flexed, and a nest of snakeheads raised from its back and sides, swaying back and forth in a battle-ready trance. Aiden Noctinaru took a deep breath, his mind and eyes focused on their survival. He let loose a flurry of attacks. Oren, channeling the power of Torag, summoned a spiritual weapon, a mighty warhammer, and directed its energy to flank the creature. Theros beckoned the power of nature, materializing burning sands beneath the beast's paws. Nyari and Volus held the rear, the Blood Rager still shaken from her visions. The magical beast roared violently as it was assailed. It lunged forward and exchanged blows with our heroes. The cunning cat crouched and spun back into a defensive stance as its viper heads unleashed a sleep-inducing vapor into the air. Theros, Nyari and Volus slumped and collapsed on the ground unconscious, leaving only Oren and Aiden to fight. The dynamic duo held their ground, striking deadly blows against the beast. It hissed and retreated, disappearing into the woods. After collecting themselves, the four travelled back to camp, where they gathered for discussion and sought counsel from Oberyn.
Theros would approach Nyari in the morning. Nyari, I did not want to ask about this yesterday, given the amount of trauma you underwent in that divination, but what did you see in your visions?
That bastard Elwood was Multhuni this whole time. And to be honest, if he were here right now, I would kill him with my own hands.
That's going to throw Theros off quite a bit, and he just kind of stands in stunned silence and doesn't say anything else.
I would caution you, though. It sounds to me like that only half of a story is being told here. I'm not saying that your dream is wrong, but from what I know of him, and from what you're saying of him, there's a big disconnect there. Try to think of how he was when you knew him. Not how he was before you knew him. Because it might not have really been the same person at all.
Honestly, Oberyn, I don't care.
I know you have told me you do not like to lead. And in Phaendar and all of Nirmathis, we hope that we can embrace true freedom. But in times like this, we need someone to guide us. And I know that you say that you look to us as the ones who are in charge. But I look to you. Thank you, Oberyn.
For what it's worth, Aiden, I think you're doing a fine job.
I don't feel right. I can't think. There's something in my head, and I feel like I'm stuck in a fog, and I don't know what's right or wrong anymore. I saw the worst day of my life replayed over in my head. And then I saw the shrine, the Kellid shrine. And I have this feeling that I have to go there to make Illica better.
You're right. We saved her once in Phaendar. Can you trust that we will save her again? We have to take care of these people first. We have to find safety for these people first, and then I promise we'll take care of Illica.
I'm gonna play off that. Orin is right.
Yes, one for Orin is right. Yes.
You're all welcome. You're all welcome. But no, for real. Nyari, I cannot know your pain or what you have been through, but I know what loss is. We will save Illica again, and every time that you need us to. But first, we do have to take care of these people here now.
I stand with them in saying I will do what I can to make sure you are reunited with the Illica you once knew.
I appreciate your words, but you're making promises you might not be able to keep.
I do not make a promise I cannot keep. I will take you to the shrine.
With promises in their hearts and trepidation in their steps, our heroes approach the caves to the north. Upon arriving at the map's destination, Aiden noticed something peculiar about a tangle of vines and plants. He pulled it apart, revealing the gaping maw of a giant cave, from which echoed a ghastly shriek.